to all the dispossessed youth of Africa, for perpetuation of communion with ancestral spirits through the fight for African freedom, and in the firm faith that the dead, the living, and the unborn will unite to build the destroyed shrines. Selah. Hello and welcome, beloveds, to Wake Up Africa. My name is Dr. Mumbi Seraki. How you doing? How's everything going? I really do pray that you are well in all your ways and that you're moving into living life truly on your own terms, in your own narrative, in your own rhythm, especially at such a time as this, and that you're diving deeper into every unraveling situation across Africa and across the melanated nations, because so much is happening right now. South Africa's popping off, Swaziland is popping off, Cuba is now having a revolution, and to top it all off, Jamaica has now, in a historic move, demanded reparations from Britain over slavery. Now, I always find like they're preparing the petition. That's what they said here. I'll definitely share the details. This happened a couple of weeks ago, so many of you might have already heard about it. But for those who haven't, basically, Reuters actually reported that Jamaican lawmakers were preparing to submit a petition seeking reparations over the enslavement of Africans that generated fortunes for British merchants. They say the number of slaves present in Jamaica reached up to 600,000 in the 18th century. And while the country actually gained independence in 1962, Jamaica remains part of the Commonwealth. And get this, Jamaica is also one of the few countries across the Caribbean that still has, I think there are like 14 nations that still has the Queen as their head of state. And they are actually readying to demand reparations. But whenever I really just wish that sometimes we wouldn't talk about what we do and we just do it. I wish this article was more about like Jamaica has submitted the petition to demand for reparations. Because you see now when they say they're readying, it's like, could the process be hijacked? Could mercenaries be sent behind the scenes to kind of, delay, disrupt, or, change the direction of this? Because there's a lot happening in the Caribbean, beloveds, especially with this, there's a lot happening. And many nations are being forced to bow, and those ones who aren't bowing are going the Haitian president way, or they're fearing they'll go the Haitian president way, so they're just backing up. So that's why I was just like, why talk about preparing the petition instead of just telling us that you've submitted the petition? But anyway, they said that they're hoping for reparations, justice in all forms, that one would expect if they are really to ensure that we get justice from injustices, to repair the damages that our ancestors experienced. That's what the Jamaica's Minister of Sports, Youth and Culture told Reuters. Apparently, she's called Olivia Grange. And the painful thing is, after all this happened, when slavery was abolished in the 19th century, the British government actually took a $27 million loan to pay off, to compensate the slave owners, but no compensation was given to the slaves themselves. It was almost like they were like, yo, sorry, man, we can't continue like this, but here's a little money. And you can just hire up the same people that you were, this will give you a little kickstart. So don't worry, you'll always be ahead. And these are some of the things, and they said that there's this guy, Mike Henry, he was a member of Jamaica's Labour Party. He said, I'm asking for the same amount of money to be paid to the slaves that was paid to the slave owners. And in the equivalent of that time today, that money then today would be about $10.5 billion. So the petition, they say, will be filed pending advice from the Attorney General and several legal teams. We're praying that they continue with it and they follow it through to the end. But what does this spiritually mean, beloved, for our people? What does it mean? Number one, this is the same as when South Africa said that they wanted their land back. We have to declare these things not with the lightness of like democracy really exists and equal rights and justice is an actual thing in the world, when it isn't. When our government does such bold things, for whatever reason, maybe it's to appease the people, whatever the reason, maybe it's a genuine push forward. But it's funny how mainstream media has picked it up. And this is how they leak our secrets in a way. That's what I feel. Let me know what you think in the comments. But it's like we have to recognize that when you declare such things, it can almost be perceived as a declaration of war because you want to change the status quo. And so the people must be prepared for the things that will happen when you want to be truly free. The sanctions that might come, the economic side. Well, I mean, already there's so much that's happening to oppress and suppress our people and try and corrupt their souls so that they can access those higher levels, so that they kind of get trapped here. Stories that I've already covered, definitely check them out. But for Jamaica to do this, it's an awesome, epic move. Let me know what you think. Am I being paranoid? But beloveds, my beloved Jamaican brothers and sisters, I know you watch this channel. I'd love to hear what you think about this. It's really important that you prepare for what the consequences of taking such a historic and bold move means. Because there's a reason why the British government and the Queen have never apologized to any African nation. Because an apology must come with a compensation. And they're not willing to pay the compensation, so they won't apologize. That's why we saw even Belgium come this close to apologizing to the Congo and then just like, we're very sorry. I don't even think they said they're very sorry. Or we regret, or something that was not an apology. Yeah, it wasn't we're very sorry. It was like, we regret what our great granddaddy did in killing, millions of your people. But the empire doesn't take lightly to this. And to the head being, this happening at such a time as this. So prepare yourselves, beloveds. And how do you prepare yourselves? Stock up on food where you can. Stock up on water where you can. Grow your own food, but spiritually, put your petitions forward so that if this is a genuine thing, that really the spirit of the ancestors will guide the process and shield the nation from any kind of backlash from the enemies of your soul. We are living in very interesting times, beloveds. But for Jamaica to have become as bold as to demand, it's not, reparations is really telling, knowing the role that Jamaica plays in the Caribbean. It's bold. But certain moves have consequences. So back your government up, beloveds, spiritually. I know many Rastafaris are probably already doing that, many highly spiritual people, but that's what we can do. We have to put our petitions forward. Because Spirit is ready to work with us. But we have to also do our part. And our part is to stand in the gap and command things, demand things, speak over things, speak protection over the nation, speak protection over this movement, etc., etc. Until next time, tuko pamoja.